When most people think of a manipulator, they envision someone who constantly harms others, who never thinks to help because they're so focused on their own selfish interests. So they say things like, well, this person must not be so bad because they were nice to me. What most people fail to realize is that no one is 100% bad all the time. Even manipulators can behave in pro-social ways if it serves them, and in fact, many manipulators do try to charm people whenever possible, particularly because they want the social capital that they can weaponize against someone when needed. Someone can seem cooperative, friendly, warm, philanthropic, nice, kind, but also be willing to hurt others. What matters is the absence of relational aggression, not the existence of benevolence. This is why there are so many manipulative people in philanthropy.
Welcome back to my channel. We're listening to licensed clinical psychologist Dr. Anna Uden from the YouTube channel Psychology with Dr. Anna. Dr. Anna has a doctorate in clinical psychology, and she specializes in making evidence-based psychological research decipherable for the rest of us. Here, in her video titled, Why Manipulative People Sometimes Seem So Nice, she says that manipulators don't target everyone. They pick and choose their scapegoats based on what's convenient for them, while being nice to everybody else in case they need to weaponize that niceness later on. Niceness doesn't matter, Dr. Anna says. Well then, what does matter?
What matters is the absence of relational aggression, not the existence of benevolence. This is why there are so many manipulative people in philanthropy.
Huh? What matters is the absence of relational aggression, not the existence of benevolence? So what's relational aggression? Dr. Anna breaks it down.
Relational aggression, in case you're not aware of it, is intentionally hurting someone's relationships or reputation through nothing but social tools without ever lifting a finger to cause physical harm to that person. Things like spreading rumors, silent treatment, excluding someone from a group.
So relational aggression is the tactic of hurting someone's relationships or reputation through social tools like spreading rumors, silent treatment, or excluding someone from a group. The reason I bring this up, guys, is relational aggression has been studied by researchers as it relates to cluster B personality disorders. Here's what Dr. Todd Grande, a licensed mental health counselor who has a doctorate in counselor education and supervision, says about it.
Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, what is the relationship between relational aggression and personality disorders? Now, when we talk about relational aggression, we're talking about behaviors that are intended to damage interpersonal relationships and social status. And we see that this can be done through manipulation or social exclusion. To help answer this question, I'll be using a study that was published in 2018 by Reardon and colleagues. And what they did here was they looked at relational aggression as it relates to the 5-factor model, and then the 5-factor model as that relates to personality disorders. So this really features a clever way to explain and explore the relationship between relational aggression and personality disorders. For individuals who perpetrate relational aggression, we see a higher risk of mental disorders, including personality disorders, difficulty in school, and peer rejection. So someone who's relationally aggressive causes damage in interpersonal relationships, but then themselves experience rejection from their peers.
This is a key point. For individuals who perpetrate relational aggression, they themselves experience rejection from peers because when you use an antisocial behavior, you're trading a short-term win in exchange for a long-term loss. That's why derpers, that is, narcissists, sociopaths, and psychopaths, tend to doom themselves.
We also see with relational aggression that it is a consistent pattern of behavior. It's an interactional style that doesn't appear to be isolated and discrete, but rather consistent and stable. It also tends to develop early in life, as in late childhood or early adolescence, and it's associated with interpersonal instability and jealousy. So of course, with this understanding of relational aggression, it's easy to see a connection specifically to personality disorders, and even more specifically to cluster B personality disorders. That would be antisocial, borderline, narcissistic, and histrionic personality disorders. Cluster B personality disorders are considered the emotional, dramatic, and erratic cluster. Prior studies have shown an an association with all of those personality disorders in cluster B, but particularly with antisocial personality disorder.
So, Dr. Grande says people who use relational aggression likely started using it in late childhood or early adolescence and use it consistently as they get older. Also, relational aggression is associated with jealousy. One video I put out in the past referenced the tendency derpers have to be envious to the point of lashing out at the people they are envious of. Relational aggression, and I do believe that Dr. Grande is being intentionally careful here, is associated with personality disorders, specifically cluster B, especially antisocial personality disorder, the disorder that terms like sociopath and psychopath reference. My point with this stuff, guys, is that red flags matter, especially when you have next to no experience dealing with people who engage in chronic dishonesty and extreme manipulativeness. The nature of evil is that it hides itself, which places you in danger. Oh, I saw a red flag, and that means it's time to throw a party, or it's time to talk about China. No, it's time to leave. Specifically, when you see these red flags, triangulation, you know it's especially bad or extreme when someone triangulates so much that abuse by proxy is happening. Codes of silence on social media. Why is there a prosecution and a defense? If only one person or group can respond to a target's claims, or if the target is never told what the accusations are against them, that's an extremely manipulative dynamic. Hitler wanted that. Palindromic speech, which is another example of an antisocial behavior. Mind games. Bad seeds are preoccupied with hurting others in subtle or masked ways. Relational aggression, which we just covered, and predation. Notice the manipulativeness. When a group uses the same strategies on their biggest supporters to get them to act out of character, as they do their intended targets to get them to act out of character, putting both supporters and intended targets into the state of derp to get what they want. Flying monkeys are manufactured. They are robbed of consent through false narratives. That's why they may behave in unintentionally stupid or cruel ways. And that's also why this backlash exists against them.
Wouldn't it be so cool if enablers of narcissistic abuse encouraged narcissists to have compassion for their targets whose lives they are literally ruining, and to stop abusing them as much as they told survivors of narcissistic abuse to have compassion for whatever the narcissist must have gone through to make them such a piece of shit of a human being, and to continue sweeping the abuse under the rug? Oh wait, then they wouldn't be enablers anymore, would they? And this is just your friendly reminder that enablers are just as toxic as narcissists.
Hi, today I want to talk about the flying monkey and the people who enable narcissists. I personally categorize the flying monkey into one of two categories: the complete dumbass and the second-tier narcissist.
They are psychologically unstable people. We have to understand that the reason why flying monkeys are protecting and defending and fighting on behalf of the malignant narc is because they're psychologically unstable. They do not have a sound mind.
No, absolutely not. I know these people, and they aren't just as toxic or complete dumbasses or second-tier narcissists or psychologically unstable. By the way, the woman in the last clip is narcissistic abuse recovery coach Dana Arcuri, and she's right about everything else. But what flying monkeys are is manufactured. What they are is manipulated, and getting upset at them simply results in signing up for more of this manipulative game. That's why you need 17 different levels of patience. For example, let's say there's this flying monkey going around speaking on a victim story sincerely. She says, "I kept trying to make up with my abuser, and all he kept doing was giving me a sarcastic smiley face. Why did I receive a sarcastic smiley face? This is abuse. You're a narcissist." And the intended target, narcissist, would say, "You received a sarcastic smiley face in response to your antisocial behaviors, like triangulation resulting in abuse by proxy, like relational aggression, like palindromic speech. Each time you received a sarcastic smiley face, you engaged in two or more of those antisocial behaviors. But those facts, important aspects of reality, apparently never made it into the derper-led fantasy. Yes, flying monkeys are controlled by triggered emotions, but they are also controlled by the fantasies that are created by derpers. But that's our next video. I just want to say it's crucial to get away from the influence of manipulative, infantile freaks, or else you will be led down the wrong path. Matthew 7:22-23 says, "Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, didn't we prophesy in your name, cast out demons in your name, and do many mighty works in your name? And then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you who practice lawlessness." Thank you so much for joining me on this video. Much love, and God bless.